Hey YouTube, this is the Death Scouter making another video, and today I'm going to be installing an instrument gauge faceplate change from Azzy's Design Works in Pennsylvania. According to their website, this should be pretty easy, so I'm looking forward to it. As you can see, I've already done a little bit of customization through painting. My steering wheel, my instrument cluster, the trim rings, other parts. Much better result than these colored sticky tape add-ons that you buy on eBay, where they just cover this whole thing up. It looks really kind of cheesy when you get close to it. So anyway, I'm going to make one more change here. So I'm going to be changing out the faceplate to my gauges. A couple of things to do in order to do that. This whole piece of plastic here needs to get removed. Then this part of the dash can get removed, and then we can get to the instrument cluster, which is all one piece. So the way that I have done this in the past, I don't know if you have to do it, but I do it, is I take out these air vent inserts. If you've never done that, let me show you that here inside there is a hole. Let's see if I can do this. Again, a one-man band here. Let me see if I can show it. What I'm looking for is that hole right there, and you're going to see that hole disappear. See how I rotate that and it disappears? Right there. What you're going to do, I had to switch on it because this other one was broken, pardon me. But what you're going to do, what your goal here is to get the air vent tilted just the right amount that you can put a screwdriver up into that hole, and with the screwdriver in the hole like this, you're just gently going to just press down and depress that little tab, and then rotate this thing about 10 degrees and it'll slide right out. Okay, so I did the same thing over here. I've already done it for expediency's sake, and we can get it out. The other thing that I like to do, some of these four-door models where they have extra buttons in here, this is actually screwed in. Don't know if you need to pop this out, but I will do it anyway. Because there's a wiring harness on the back of this you need to disconnect. So we're just going to, with the air vents out, it gives you something to grab onto, and you just pull, because the dash is relatively just clipped together. Oh, let me make a change down here. So we're going to go down here underneath the steering column here, and we're going to pull this tab down and get that out of the way. And there are two 7mm nut head screws that we need to get out, and once we get that out of the way, we should be able to pull this whole piece out. So let me go ahead and unscrew these, and I'll start the camera right back up. Okay, so with these two 7mm screws out of the side of the steering column, I've gone ahead and lowered my steering wheel as much as I can, and up here I had a Phillips screw that I took out. With those things out of the way now, you can grab this part of the steering, the dash, get away here so you can take a look. And this whole thing is all one piece. So we're just going to pull and lift and get this out of the way. Being careful now to remember that there is a wiring harness on the back of this that we need to disconnect. Alright, so once you disconnect the wiring harness for your power windows, if you are so equipped, this whole piece will get out of your way. I'm going to go ahead and do that now and resume. Okay, so we depressed this tab, disconnected this, and then we were able to pry the switch bank out of the dash, because there is a screw that holds in that. Evidently this has been taken apart before and that's been broken, but you'll want to take that screw out so you don't break your dash. Then the whole piece lifts off, as you see here, and what we're left with now is another one, another set of these 7mm screws in each corner of the instrument cluster, And we'll take those out, and there'll be one wiring connector on the back of the instrument cluster that we will use to disconnect the cluster gauge. What it's important to do, the hardest part of this install from what I can see watching their installation videos, is having some kind of understanding as to how to reset your needles, you know, your gauge needles, because they have to come off, and then you want to put them back on, and you want to make sure that they're in the right location. There's a couple of different ways to do that. I'm going to walk through their setup as best I can, but one of the things I want to do, I want to turn it on while everything's still connected, and I want to get an idea as to where my gauges are. So luckily, I have pretty much a full tank of gas, and I'm about 25% on the temperature gauge between cold and hot, and then on my zero, and then my tach and my speedometer should be at 0. So that gives me something to work with when I put the needles back on. We'll readjust those needles with power connected before we close everything back up. So let me go ahead and get these 7mm nut head screws out and take the instrument gauge apart, and I'll show you what comes next. So I took the screws out. This is exactly how you see it. You notice with all 4 screws out, this whole instrument piece is just a free floater. And we've got, oh, I was wrong. I've got 3 different wiring connections on the back. So we will go ahead and push down each tab and remove the wiring harnesses one at a time. Oh, I only wouldn't have trimmed my fingernails today. There we go. Alright, so with the 3 wiring harnesses off, the instrument cluster comes out. Give it a quick flip over, and you'll see that there's 2 sets of clips that hold this all together. There's a set of clips that hold this plastic shield on, and we will gently lift those tabs up here, here, and gently work this each tab off, and then we will repeat the process with the tabs, the black tabs that hold the separator on that separates all the gauges. Alright, so let me go ahead and get all this off, and this probably is not a bad time for you to get some Windex and clean this up before you all put it all back together. So let me go ahead and get this thing all apart, and then we'll resume the video. So depressed all those tabs all the way around. This came off, and now is a great time if you want to paint yours to go ahead and do that. You have to prep it and paint it, prime it, or else it'll all flake off. So I'm not going to get into that on this video, but there's a way to do that. Okay, so now we're left looking at the factory faceplate and these needles that seem to float around pretty evenly. Okay, and we're told to grab these and rotate gently counterclockwise and lift. So let's see how well that works. Well, that didn't work very well at all. We'll try that again. Alright, so that came off. Sometimes the metal rod comes off with it. Did not do that for me. Did not do that for me again. Did not do that for me again. And this one actually looks like it freaking broke. Brilliant. Okay, well, I guess I'll be testing the epoxy glue. Alright, well, this is why I do the videos, right? You see what I go through. The faceplate itself is held down by these plastic rings, and the rings, like everything else, are spring-loaded. You have to get a small, very small edge underneath there, perhaps a razor blade or a very small screwdriver, or maybe your fingernails, and pry these rings out, and then once these rings are out, this faceplate will just lift off. So let me dick around with fixing this disaster, and I'll work on getting these rings off. See, if you look down in there, I don't know how well this thing will focus. If you look down inside, you can see these rings got tabs. Those tabs are kind of like springing outward, right? So let's lock it in place. So you need to push those tabs in. I don't know how well you can see that. Push those tabs in to get this to release. All right, let me deal with this nightmare, and then I'll get back to the next thing. I got everything off. It only took me a second. I'll tell you the secret that I found. I mean, you'll figure it out. This isn't rocket science. But I put my finger into the hole and pulled off to the side so that I could get the fingernail of my other finger down underneath. And once I did that, they popped right off. All right. So with those rings off, this faceplate is supposed to just lift right off, and look, it does. All right, okay, just laid the new faceplate on. This is a little guide hole. This is a guide hole. Lines everything up perfectly, so this is going to be really cool. I'm going to take these rings now and just push them back down. There's large and small rings. Large rings, small rings. I just laid them out. See, here's the tabs, if you can see those. The little spring-loaded tabs there on the bottom. You have to press in to get it to release. I just went ahead and pushed these all back in, and I lay them out as in order. Like if I take off 1, 2, 3, 4, I lay them out 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll put them all back on in the same way. All right. So temperature gauge. I pushed on. Okay. Tachometer, line up the pin, push the tachometer back there. Speedometer, I'll do my best. Sorry about that, bad camera work. It's a pain in the ass when you're a one-man show. Okay. Alright. And what you see me doing here is how they tell you on their website to reset the gauges. If you put the needles on and for some reason they're off, you gently roll counterclockwise and put the needle where it belongs. So that should reset the gauges. I put my fingernails down on each side. You see how I got one fingernail there, had my other fingernail, the one that's holding the camera right now, on the other side, and I pressed and pressed and pressed until it clicked. So I'm back together. And go ahead and try to line up, then put the shaft back on the post, line this thing up with empty. That looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take it as is and bring it back up here and hook the wiring connections back up. I'm going to power the Jeep on, and I want to see if my gauges go to where they ought to. And then I'll show you how to put this thing into a test. Alright, so here's what I did. Went ahead and put this little shroud back on, just because it helps hold the faceplate down in place, and it was getting in my way, so I moved it. Plugged in the 3 connections all across the back, and just put the key in and turned it forward to the accessory position. And I'm looking here, and I see my gas gauge is at full. I'm going to go ahead and maybe wrap this thing around again and just get it back to the actual full line. And the other gauges are pretty darn close on, to the point that I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so now I'm going to show you something they show on their website. If you press in the odometer reset, turn the ignition off and turn the ignition on to the run position, that's like where it's at now, this dash unit should go into a test mode. So I will do my darndest to keep the camera somewhat coherent, but I have to use both hands to do this. So reset in, key off, key on, and what you see here now is that all the gauges go up and they start moving, and they start moving, and they start moving, and then you also see it lights every light. There is a type 1 and a type 2, I'm sorry, type A, type B, and you'll also see it's giving us some other codes that I'm really not familiar with, which is kind of cool. It's also giving us some kind of the lights in the type A, type B. Some of the indicators, such as the four-wheel drive mode or traction control mode, those indicators change with the older JKs, like 7 through 11, maybe 12, and then 12 on, you'd have this, which is a type B. They make it pretty simple when you order it online, because when you go to place your order on the Azzy's website, they you know, which faceplate are you buying, how many do you want, type, what year is your Jeep. You know, it's pretty simple. Believe it or not, somehow it's screwed up on mine, and these guys, much to their credit, I called them up and said, hey, ordered a type A, needed a type B. They went ahead and just sent out the type B without waiting for my other one to come back. So great guys to do business with. You know, they've been really nice. Now I'm looking here at this gauge, not really doing what I thought it would do, which meant going back to empty. So I'm going to circle this back around to empty, and I'm going to put my key back in, and I'm going to see if it goes back to full when I turn the power up. Okay, that's better. So this is a little bit lower than I would like it, because I think it was higher. I'm going to go ahead and spin that around. Alright, I'm going to take the faceplate off. Evidently the needle does not want to spin all the way around because of the bottom of this gauge. So putting the faceplate back on was not a good idea at this point. Learning that the hard way. But I will go ahead and reset the temp gauge needle and then start to reassemble everything. Okay. Took my shroud off, spun my needle around, set it back to where I wanted it to be. I think that's pretty darn close. I don't think these gauges are going to be as precise as it was when I had my stock one on there. So that's just something I'm going to be conscious of going forward. And let me go ahead and snap all the pieces back together, put all the screws back in, and then I'll do a final look. Alright, so the dash is all back together. Everything's snapped together nicely. It is a looks awesome. Looks totally awesome. Matches my the Army theme of my Commando green Jeep. A nice patriotic Gadsden flag rattlesnake. Thank you for watching. I think all in, this was about 20 minutes. The whole idea here is to show you what I was going through so that you'll know what you're going through. Fixes, breaks, pauses, and repairs and all. Hope you enjoyed my video. Please subscribe to my channel, watch some more videos, and give me some comments if you like what you see. Thank you.